Engagement set, X returns heartwarming journey of a woman's life-changing decision exposed. In the quaint town of Maplewood, Sarah stood behind the counter of the local diner, ringing up coffee for weary farmers. The sun rose, casting a golden light that sliced through the dusty windows, illuminating her tired yet determined face. At 29, Sarah was more than just a waitress. She was a single mother, a dreamer with a heart full of ambition, and the relentless spirit of a warrior, fueled by the memory of her late mother, a nurse whose compassion inspired her every day. With each cup of coffee she served, Sarah felt the weight of expectation mix with warmth. She juggled shifts at the grocery store too, all while raising her 5-year-old son, Jamie, with the help of her strong, hard-working father, who taught her that integrity and perseverance were key to overcoming any challenge. Life was never easy, but she glimpsed tomorrow through the lens of her aspirations. Then one day, as she wiped down the counter, the bell above the door jingled, and in walked Tom, the boy she'd loved in high school. It felt like a Monday when the world finally got too real. His boyish charm hadn't faded, and suddenly, old feelings surged back, overwhelming her. Could this be a second chance? But with that excitement came a heavy reminder of her present life filled with responsibilities and the pressures of single parenting. Before she could collect her thoughts, the town buzzed with news unexpected budget cuts had found their way into the local school funding. Sarah's scholarship for nursing, the lifeline she had worked tirelessly for, was teetering on the edge of disappearing. She could feel the world closing in. Faced with the gut-wrenching choice of settling for a low-paying job that could offer stability for Jamie or continuing to chase her dream, every heartbeat felt excruciating. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The news rattled her. Yet, amidst despair, hope glimmered when the townsfolk rallied together. Donations flowed in, altruistic arms wrapped around her when she felt most vulnerable. They believed in her, reminding her of the community spirit her father held dear. But the generous hands made her feel heavier, the mantle of responsibility weighing down as her future felt uncertain. Then, just as she thought she'd found a job aligning with her values at a nearby clinic, she uncovered a stain on its surface: unethical practices that made her stomach churn. The pit of her stomach twisted as she fought the urge to betray her principles for stability. Each decision felt like a collision between her integrity and her fierce love for Jamie. Now, standing at a crossroads, surrounded by caring neighbors and an echo from her father's teachings, Sarah realized she needed to decide who she wanted to be. Would she chase the dreams of her past, or would she embrace a new definition of family and fulfillment? The stakes had never been so high. As her heart raced at the weight of her impending decision, she knew this moment would shape her path forever. What sacrifices would she make for love? Would she gather the courage to forge a future filled with hope, or would the burdens of the past anchor her down? The cool breeze swept through the open windows of the diner, rustling Sarah's hair as she watched the townsfolk flow in and out. Each person carried their own burdens, yet everyone was quick to smile at her, to offer a word of encouragement. The kindness felt like a warm blanket against the storm brewing in her mind. She poured another cup of coffee, but her thoughts were elsewhere, fixated on Tom's sudden reappearance and the whirlwind of emotions he had stirred. "What's wrong, Sarah?" her father, Bill, asked, leaning against the counter, concern etched on his weary face. "Just thinking about everything," she replied, forcing a smile. Yet, his gaze lingered, knowing her too well to buy the pretense. "You know I'm proud of you, right? All your hard work." "I see it," he said softly. With those simple words, Sarah felt a flicker of optimism. Maybe she could do this. But just as quickly, the weight of the scholarship news loomed large in her heart. The bell jingled again as Tom stepped closer, a hesitant smile on his face. "Hey, Sarah. Can we talk?" Her breath hitched, 1,000 memories rushing back. But she nodded, her heart racing with uncertainty. They stepped outside, away from curious eyes. "Listen, I know this might not be the best time," Tom said, shuffling on his feet. "But I can't stop thinking about you. I was really hoping to catch up." Sarah felt the past pull her in like a tide. "Things are complicated right now for me, Tom," she cautioned, her voice steady despite the turmoil underneath. "I'm kind of at a crossroads with my job and raising Jamie. I heard about the cuts at the school." "I'm so sorry," he said, his tone softening. "But that's why I wanted to talk to you. I've been involved with this community initiative to restore the funding. We're raising awareness, and I think it could be a big step for you too. A way to get a scholarship and stay in nursing." "Really?" Hope flickered in her chest. "But how?" "We're holding a town meeting next week. I could use your voice, Sarah. You're stronger than you think. Your story could inspire people to help." Her heart swelled. A chance to advocate for herself and others like her, a way to reclaim her dream while keeping her integrity intact. But doubt gnawed at her. What if it all failed? What if she couldn't voice her fears, her aspirations publicly? Just then, Jamie's laughter broke through her thoughts as he raced towards her, hand in hand with a neighbor. "Mom! Look what Mrs. Nelson gave me!" he exclaimed, holding up a handmade drawing of their little family, complete with a stick figure Dad beside her and Jamie. Her heart melted. In his innocence, he was a reminder of everything she fought for, a beacon of hope in her darkest moments. She turned back to Tom, the decision forming in her mind, but uncertainty still hung between them like a cloud. "I'll think about it," she finally said, feeling the weight of her choice. Tom nodded, a hint of disappointment shadowing his eyes, yet determination sparkled in his voice. "Just remember, you're not alone in this." As he walked away, hope tangled with fear in her chest. Could she really gather her courage and step into the light, sharing her story and inspiring others? The possibilities felt infinite but suffocating. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, Sarah realized the moment had come. One way led to stability, the other to uncertainty, but with hope, facing the sunset, she whispered to the quiet town, "Can I really do this? Will I have the strength?" Just then, a message dinged on her phone. An anonymous donation had come through for her scholarship. Her breath caught. Was this a sign? Tomorrow was a new day. Decisions loomed ahead, but the feeling of possibility danced in the air. What path would she choose? The answer awaited just on the horizon. The morning sun peeked through the diner windows, casting warm light on the scattered tables. Sarah wiped down the counter, her mind still tangled in the emotions from yesterday. That unexpected donation felt monumental, like a sign that maybe, just maybe, help was within her grasp. As she served breakfast to the early risers, a knot tightened in her stomach. The upcoming town meeting loomed over her, a giant hurdle shining with the possibility of her dream. Yet the thought of speaking in front of a crowd made her heart race like a runaway train. "Coffee, Sarah." A familiar voice broke her train of thought. It was Mrs. O'Brien, her usual patron and local gossip. "Coming right up." Sarah smiled as she poured the steaming brew. "You all right, dear?" "You seem a bit off," Mrs. O'Brien said, her kind eyes searching Sarah's face. "I'm fine, just a busy day ahead," Sarah replied, trying to move on. But Mrs. O'Brien wasn't persuaded easily. "You know, honey, everyone in town is talking about that meeting next week. They think you've got what it takes to really make a difference." The compliment smacked hard against her uncertainty. "I just don't know if I can do it," she whispered. With a shake of her head, Mrs. O'Brien leaned closer. "Sweetheart, everyone has doubts. It's how we rise up that counts. If you don't speak, how will anyone know your story?" As Sarah finished filling coffee cups, Jamie entered the diner, eyes sparkling with mischief. He had a new toy, a bright red race car that zoomed around in his small hands. The sight of him made her heart swell, grounding her in the present. "Mom! Watch me!" He giggled, running in circles, his contagious laughter surrounding her like sunlight. Sarah knelt down, wanting to absorb every moment. "You're going to be a race car driver one day, huh?" "I'm gonna be the fastest," Jamie proclaimed, pushing the car forward with all his might. His determination ignited something within Sarah. If he could chase his dreams without hesitation, why couldn't she? She was his example. The weight of her responsibility pressed her but also propelled her. Still, the fear lurked. What if she failed? What if her voice trembled under the weight of expectations? Later that day, as she sat with Jamie doing homework, her phone buzzed again. Another message. With a shaky hand, she opened it and found a familiar name: Tom. "Hey, Sarah. Just wanted to check in. Thinking about you and the meeting. Let's grab coffee and talk options. I'm here to help." Hope battled with anxiety. Could she rely on him again? She pondered over his words, feeling the pull of their shared purpose. And yet, could she bear the weight of their past too? "Mom!" Jamie's voice cut through her thoughts, pulling her back. "Can we build a fort?" Sarah grinned at the innocent request. "Absolutely. Let's make the best fort ever." As they piled blankets and pillows, laughter and love filled their small living room. The fort became their safe space, a cocoon where worries lightened. What if she did talk at the meeting? What if she inspired more than just herself? A chance to change the narrative, to fight for Jamie's future and her own dreams. But just as the thought settled, her phone chimed once more. This time, it was a notification about the town meeting. Her heart raced. "Jamie, do you want to help your mom prepare for something really important?" He nodded, wide-eyed with excitement, unaware of the storm brewing within her. Could she gather her strength, face her fears, and speak her truth? The evening faded into shadows, but her determination flared. Standing up, she whispered to herself, "Tomorrow, I'll start finding my voice." With Jamie's small hand in hers, she felt the road ahead shift. She wondered, was this the moment things would change? What hurdles awaited her next? The first rays of dawn spilled through the curtains, illuminating the cluttered but cherished space of Sarah's kitchen. She yawned, stretching her limbs as the familiar sounds of Jamie's footsteps echoed through the hallway. The excitement in his little voice was both a comfort and a wake-up call. "Mom! Can we have pancakes today?" His request pulled her from her sleepy reverie. She smiled, the smell of warm syrup and butter filling her with a sense of home. "You got it, champ. Pancakes it is." As she flipped the pancakes, her mind began swirling again with thoughts of the meeting. The town hall loomed like a mountain she had to climb. Would she be able to stand up there and speak? Could she summon the courage to put her wishes into words? With every pancake that sizzled on the skillet, images of the town gathered in the hall filled her head. Faces, some encouraging, some doubtful, flashed before her. Would Mr. Johnson raise an eyebrow? Would Mrs. O'Brien smile proudly? The aroma of the breakfast wafted through the air when Jamie came bounding into the kitchen, a bright blue paper in his hands. "Look, Mom. I drew our fort." His artwork was an explosion of colors, red for the roof, blue for the walls, and a purple sun shining above. Sarah's heart swelled. "It's beautiful, Jamie. Just like our fort." He shrugged, his small shoulders bouncing with joy. "We'll build it bigger next time." "Next time," she echoed, a thought sparking in her mind. The phrase had power, resilience. Later in the day, Sarah found herself standing in front of the bathroom mirror, running her fingers through her hair. Thoughts raced, doubts simmered. Would her voice shake? Would she be dismissed? But then, remembering Jamie's laughter, the morning light that kissed her cheeks, it suddenly hit her, she was fighting not only for her dreams but for his future too. She squared her shoulders and practiced deep breaths. "All right, Sarah. You can do this." The doorbell rang. She jumped, startled. Should she even answer? Taking a breath, she opened it to find Tom standing there, nervously shifting from foot to foot. The sight of him brought up a mix of feelings: relief, nostalgia, a hint of anxiety. "Hey, I thought I'd stop by, see how you're doing," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. "Right. Coffee?" she asked, if only to ease the tension. As they sat at the kitchen table, cracks of past laughter danced between them, even though the weight of silence occasionally settled uncomfortably. "I heard you're preparing for the meeting," he ventured. "Are you ready?" I'm trying to be," she admitted, her heart hammering. "It's just, I fear I won't be heard." Tom leaned in, genuine concern in his eyes. "You have a voice, Sarah. You've always had it. Just think of what you're fighting for." The warmth of his gaze soothed her. Perhaps the past didn't have to linger like a shadow. "How about you come with me?" she blurted, the words bursting forth. "Support me?" As her words sank in, silence filled the space. Tom's mouth opened slightly, surprise etched on his face. "Are you sure? I don't know if I can do this alone. I need someone to remind me." His hesitant nod sparked something within her. Then a realization hit: she wasn't just relying on him, she was learning to rely on herself. They chatted easily for a while, the nervous energy easing. But underneath the layers of conversation, Sarah felt the undercurrent of fear again. She worried about stepping into the spotlight, a spotlight she had long evaded. After he left, the house felt quieter, yet somehow more alive. "Mom." Jamie called from his room. "Can we get takeout tonight? My friends want to have a sleepover." The innocence of Jamie's request brought a smile. Moments like this reminded her of the power of community, the weight of connection. With the meeting looming, and Tom's unexpected support, she felt a flicker of hope. She picked up Jamie's drawing from the table, imagining standing tall like a beacon fighting for their future, but just as determination blossomed, her phone buzzed again. A notification from the town page, revealing an unexpected change in the meeting agenda tomorrow would bring not only her voice but also unexpected challenges. What awaited her in that crowded room? Could one meeting truly shift everything? The sun hung high in the sky when Sarah awoke the next day, a fresh wave of anxiety washing over her as she remembered the meeting. Today was the day. She rushed to the kitchen, her heart pounding with each thud. Jamie was already up, his usual enthusiasm bubbling over. "Can we build the fort after school, Mom?" he asked, his tiny hands gesticulating wildly. "Of course, buddy," she replied with a smile, even as her stomach twisted. As she poured cereal into a bowl, the notification from the town page echoed in her mind. Change in agenda. What could it mean? Was she even prepared for whatever curveball could come her way? While Jamie munched away, she mentally organized her thoughts, rehearsing snippets of her speech. She envisioned the faces, the questions. But with every bite he took, her thoughts were bombarded. What if they dismissed her? What if Mr. Johnson scoffed? "Mom." Jamie's voice cut through her swirling thoughts. "You look worried." "I'm okay, just thinking," she reassured him that he furrowed his brow. "You know, you're really brave. You told me that. Like when you take the first jump into the pool." His innocent confidence sparked a flame in her heart. "You're right, Jamie. I can do this," she whispered, mostly to herself. The drive to the town hall was a blend of nerves and determination. Sarah held the steering wheel tightly, her knuckles white. Jamie chatted away, happy to be heading out. "What if we have a candy bar at the sleepover? Should I ask Anthony?" "Absolutely. Sounds like a great idea," she replied, her heart lightening just a little. Arriving at the town hall, the building loomed large, like a gate to a new chapter. As she stepped out of the car, she spotted a small group of townsfolk gathered by the entrance, engaged in lively conversation. Their laughter punctured the air, but Sarah felt a sense of separation, like watching life unfold from behind glass. "Are you ready, Mom?" Jamie's hopeful eyes looked up at her, pulling her from her thoughts. Sarah took a deep breath. "Ready as I'll ever be." Together, they walked toward the entrance, hand in hand. Once inside, her heart raced at the sight of rows of chairs filled with familiar faces. Half the town was there. She could make out Mr. Johnson's stern gaze and Mrs. O'Brien's gentle smile. The knock of a gavel called for attention. Her heart raced louder as she stepped forward to the microphone. She could feel the weight of all eyes on her, a sensation so sharp it almost stung. She started, her voice trembling slightly. "Thank you all for being here." Before she could continue, a low murmur rippled through the crowd as the town mayor entered with an unfolded piece of paper, an unexpected announcement ready to echo throughout the room. All of a sudden, Sarah's thoughts went blank, and a familiar rush of panic hit her again. What was this announcement about? How would it affect her plans? As the mayor cleared his throat, Sarah felt the energy in the room shift. She glanced at Jamie, who smiled encouragingly up at her, unwavering in his support. Just then, the mayor's voice boomed, and Sarah's heart sank. The news was about upcoming changes to funding for community projects. Was this the diverting curve she had feared? A whirlwind of emotions washed over her: frustration, urgency, and an ignited sense of purpose rising from within. Could she still make her plea heard? Would this shift spark her to speak out even more powerfully? With every fiber of her being urging her to step forward, Sarah struggled against her instinct to retreat. Would she seize this moment, or let it slip away? As she stood in front of the microphone, a single thought cut through the noise: it was time for her voice to rise above the crowd. What would it take to make that leap? Would she find the courage to transform the unexpected into an opportunity? The air in the town hall was thick, charged with anticipation as all eyes focused on Sarah, who felt as if she were at the edge of a diving board, staring into the uncertainty below. The mayor's proclamation still echoed in her mind, swirling with her own fears about the funding cuts. It was a colossal setback. No doubt, voices would rise against her idea for revitalizing the community center, yet she couldn't allow this moment to sail away. Taking a steadying breath, she grasped the microphone, her trembling fingers finding a sense of resolve. "We all know how important our community projects are," she started, her voice gradually gaining strength. "I truly believe they're more than just activities, they're at the heart of who we are as a town. And while we face this hurdle today, we must remember that challenges bring us together, not tear us apart." As she spoke, Sarah watched the faces of the townsfolk shift. Some were nodding, their expressions changing from skeptical to contemplative. She could feel Jamie's gaze fixed on her, his bright eyes reflecting unwavering belief. "I understand funding is tight," she continued, "but what we really need today is to embrace creativity. Instead of seeing this as an ending, let us consider it a chance for innovation. Let us come up with ways to support each other through grassroots efforts. We can find sponsors within our town, organize fundraising events, host community-wide garage sales, and more." She could see Mr. Johnson's brow furrow, but Mrs. O'Brien leaned in closer, a small smile playing at her lips. Encouraged by their reactions, Sarah pressed onward. "What if we start a community potluck to kick off these fundraising events? Something fun that engages everyone and showcases the spirit of our town." A murmur of interest spread through the audience. It felt like a spark catching fire. Sarah turned her eyes to the back of the room, where a few young adults shifted uneasily. She needed to involve everyone, the old and the young. "Think about it," she urged. "It's about making the future brighter for Jamie and all the children we see growing up here. Letting them have a safe, fun space to call their own is priceless," she added, the weight of her words heavy in the room. Suddenly, the mayor shifted in his seat, a thoughtful expression crossing his features. Sarah could feel the momentum building, she needed to give it one last push. "If we work together, we can find ways to strengthen our community bonds rather than pulling apart due to funding cuts. Our shared values and visions are worth rallying for. The applause started softly, hesitant at first, but grew in strength as she smiled warmly at the crowd. Let us build that fort together, just like I promised Jamie. His little grin beamed back at her from where he sat, and she knew beyond a doubt that they were all in this together. As the noise of clapping faded, Sarah took a moment to glance up and meet the mayor's gaze. He seemed deep in thought, perhaps considering the ideas she introduced. Was he going to advocate for her vision? With the flicker of hope ignited in the room, Sarah felt a powerful wave of strength wash over her. Just as quickly as it had come, a shadow passed over her mind. What if they didn't understand? What if they turned her ideas down? Yet she kept her heart steady, knowing she had already taken that leap. The hardest part had been completed, she had found her voice. As she made her way back to her seat, she caught snippets of conversation around her. Whispers of support and shared ideas floated in the air. Jamie leaned close, eyes sparkling with excitement. Can we really do all that, Mom? Like a big adventure? Yes, she whispered back, feeling empowered. This is just the beginning. But just as she allowed herself to bask in this moment, the mayor stood up again, his own paper in hand, ready to address the anxious room. Before we discuss future funding options, a chill ran down her spine. Could it be that change was coming again? What could he possibly say? The mayor cleared his throat, and silence enveloped the hall once more. Sarah's heart began to race. She felt every pair of eyes locked onto her, combining expectations and apprehensions in a tangible way. It was as if the very walls were holding their breath, waiting for his next words. Before we discuss future funding options, I think it's crucial to acknowledge the passion Sarah just exhibited. His eyes drifted toward her, and Sarah felt a warm rush take over. A supportive nod from Mrs. O'Brien bolstered her confidence. We have to embrace the spirit of community that Sarah has sparked here tonight. Murmurs echoed through the room, mixed reactions, but she hoped they leaned positive. A few of the younger residents smiled, and her heart lifted. The mayor continued, that said, I must be honest. The budget cuts are not solely a decision of the town council, but also a reflection of declining revenue across various sectors. We must be strategic. He paused, collecting his thoughts. I propose we hold a public forum where everyone's ideas can be heard. But I can't hang false hope on empty promises. Sarah felt like the wind had been knocked from her sails, yet there was still something in his demeanor that didn't sit right. He wasn't dismissing her efforts outright. We need to think outside the box, but this will mean sacrifices. There it was, the weight. Could sacrifices lead to real solutions? A few heads nodded in doubt, while others looked intrigued. Let us move beyond complaints, he continued, and channel this energy into genuine proposals. I've seen communities rise from adversity. I believe this can be one of those moments. Sarah seized her opportunity. What about the potluck, Mayor? It could set the tone for collaboration and unity. We have families ready to pitch in, working for a cause we all care about. The room echoed with a chorus of enthusiasm. A spontaneous chant of potluck erupted, reminding the mayor and every skeptic there how connected they could be. He chuckled, letting down some of his exterior tension. A potluck, huh? Sounds like a solid community event to uplift us. Let us do it. That stunned disbelief in the room began to shift towards determination. But as people began to converse excitedly about the potluck, Sarah overheard snippets of conversation indicating a divide among them. The town had deep-rooted factions, sometimes kept hidden beneath the surface. A woman from the back shouted, "What if it doesn't work? What if we don't get enough support? We can't keep hoping for change when we have so many naysayers." "Then we'll prove them wrong," Sarah called back, the fire rising in her chest again. "We'll show that this town is worth fighting for." The mayor looked pensive but nodded, a flicker of pride surfacing in his expression. The crowd seemed energized and alive, but Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that there were obstacles lurking just beyond the horizon. Jamie tugged at her sleeve, his wide eyes filled with admiration. "Did you see that, Mom? Everyone is excited. But do you think they'll come?" Sarah knelt to his level, her smile unwavering. "I do. And even if some don't, this is just the start. The more we engage, the more hope we bring." As she stood, a sense of purpose flooded back through her. She couldn't ignore the obstacles ahead but felt fortified by the connections being made. Then, suddenly, she noticed a familiar face in the crowd. It was Lily, her childhood friend who had left the town years ago. Lily's gaze was intense, but there was something else, an urgency that unsettled her. Sarah felt all the moments leading to this one shift inside her, as if the universe conspired to remind her that not all days are bright and uncomplicated. With Lily's return, what other revelations would unfold? Would history repeat itself, or had enough changed for healing to begin? Only time would tell. Sarah's heart raced as she navigated through the crowd, each step toward Lily feeling heavier than the last. She hadn't seen her friend in years, not since Lily had decided to leave the town for the bright lights of the city. Memories rushed back, late-night laughter, shared secrets, and the ambition they once had, to change the world together. But now, their paths felt so different. As she approached her, Sarah tried to interpret the look in Lily's eyes. Was it concern or something more? "Lily." Sarah managed, forcing a smile, though her voice held a tremor of uncertainty. "It's been ages." Lily's expression softened, and she stepped forward, pulling Sarah into an embrace. It was warm and familiar, a reminder of the bond they once shared. "How have you been?" Lily asked, pulling back but keeping her hands on Sarah's shoulders, her eyes searching for answers. "Busy trying to save our town," Sarah replied, a hint of pride in her voice. "You remember the community center? They're planning to cut funding, and I just proposed a potluck to rally everyone together." "Wow, that's amazing, Sarah." Lily's excitement was palpable, but her eyes still held that urgency. "I didn't mean to interrupt. Give me a moment, please. I have something important to tell you." Panic flickered inside Sarah. What could Lily possibly want to discuss that felt so urgent? Her instincts kicked in, she felt protective of this newfound momentum in the community. But before Sarah could respond, Mrs. O'Brien emerged from the crowd, her gentle demeanor breaking the tension. "Lily. I'm so glad to see you back," she exclaimed, wrapping her arms around Lily, who smiled appreciatively. "I missed this place," Lily said, glancing around at the now familiar faces. "It's always been home." The conversation shifted as Mrs. O'Brien began discussing the potluck's logistics and the need for volunteers, yet Sarah's mind wandered back to Lily. "Can we talk later?" Sarah whispered, fixing her gaze on Lily for a brief moment. "Definitely," Lily replied softly, her smile fading slightly as if she were carrying a weight that she hadn't shared. As the meeting disbanded, excitement buzzed among the community members, conversations flowed freely, focusing on food, recipes, and ways to decorate the community center. For a moment, it felt like hope was blossoming. But with each laugh and cheer, Sarah's anticipation of Lily's news grew heavier. She wondered what her friend had to reveal. It felt crucial, like a puzzle piece that might make all the difference in their plans. "I'll walk home with you," Jamie offered, breaking Sarah's thoughts. The way he looked up at her, so full of enthusiasm, grounded her. She needed to set an example for him. As they stepped outside, the brisk evening air wrapped around them, chasing the warmth of the hall away. Stars twinkled like tiny promises overhead. But before they could walk far, Lily caught up with them. "Sarah, can you meet me at our spot?" she asked, a seriousness in her tone. "There is something you need to hear." Sarah's stomach nodded. She glanced at Jamie, who was blissfully unaware of the shifting energy between the adults. "Just a minute, honey," she said, squeezing Jamie's hand reassuringly. Okay, but hurry. I want hot chocolate. He chirped, skipping ahead, nervous energy coursing through her. Sarah nodded at Lily. All right, give me a minute. They walked in silence, the familiar path leading them to the old oak tree where countless memories lay buried. The air felt charged, heavy with Lily's secret and Sarah's fears. What is going on, Lily? Sarah finally asked once they reached their spot, the roots of the tree providing a sturdy seat for the two old friends. Lily took a deep breath. I've come back because I need you to know something important about the changes happening in this town. Something that could affect everything you're trying to do. Sarah felt her heart skip. What do you mean? The question hung in the air, amplifying the gravity of the moment. Lily's eyes glimmered with intensity. You're going to want to listen closely. What could be so important? That it threatened to upend everything they had just started. The world around them seemed to fade away, leaving only the two of them, shadows of the past meeting an uncertain present. Lily shifted on the gnarled roots of the oak tree, her fingers nervously tracing the rough bark. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, urgency filling the silence between them. All those years apart felt like mere moments, and yet the distance had created an unspoken tension. Sarah, Lily began, her voice low, I didn't just come back for the potluck. I was doing some research while living in the city and I uncovered something about our town. Something about the old mill. The old mill. Sarah could feel the change in the air, like a storm brewing just out of sight. What about it? She asked, her curiosity piqued, but a chill crept up her spine. It's not just an old building. It holds the last vestiges of a community project that was cut decades ago. The funding wasn't the only thing that went missing. There are people involved, people in power who have done everything to keep it all buried. As Lily spoke, images of the past flashed through Sarah's mind, the glorious days when the town thrived, families gathered for Sunday picnics, and laughter filled the streets. Why didn't I hear about this before? She asked, frustration lacing her words. They've managed to keep it quiet. I only found out through some records I stumbled upon at the archives. It's all tied to the reasons why the community center is facing cuts now, Sarah. They want to erase what little history we have left, and we're the only ones who can stop it. Sarah's breath hitched. You seriously expect us to fight back against all of this? We're just two people. No, Sarah. We're more than that. We have the community behind us. You've already shown them that hope is alive, and I believe that together, we can uncover the truth. But we need to act fast. I'm worried it won't be long before they make their next move. The weight of Lily's words settled heavily on Sarah's shoulders. This was far bigger than a potluck or community center. It was about the very soul of their town and the generations that followed. A sense of purpose ignited within her, pushing aside her fears. What do we need to do? She asked, determined now. We gather information first. We talk to the older generation, anyone who remembers the mill and its significance. There must be stories, records, something that can shine a light on this darkness. All right, let us do it, Sarah agreed, her voice steady. But why did you really come back, Lily? You had everything in the city. Lily's gaze turned distant for a moment, as if she was seeing memories Sarah couldn't It wasn't everything. I felt lost. I thought I could find a new path, but when I heard the whispers about what is happening here, I knew I had to return. I needed to come home. The sincerity in Lily's eyes sent a comforting wave through Sarah. A forgotten bond reignited, fusing their calls to action. Then let us not waste any more time, Sarah said, her heart racing now for another reason. She felt a renewed sense of camaraderie and urgency. We'll start by reaching out to Mrs. O'Brien. She knows tales of the town better than anyone. As they stood together, the wind rustled through the leaves above them, as though nature itself was cheering on their mission. It sounded like change was coming. Sarah, Lily said, turning toward her, no matter what we find, promise me you won't let go of your vision. This place can rise again. The weight of such a promise sent an electric pulse through Sarah. She nodded with conviction, but still, an uneasy feeling stirred within her. Whatever happens, we'll face it together, Sarah vowed, feeling the weight of their shared determination. Just then, Jamie appeared around the corner, his breath fogging in the cool air. "Hey! Are we getting hot chocolate or what?" They both smiled, hearts lifted momentarily by his innocence. But as they joined Jamie, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the fight ahead would test everything they believed in. What darkness lurked in the shadows of their seemingly quaint town? All she could do was hope they were strong enough to uncover the truth before it consumed them all. As they walked back together, the night felt heavy with expectancy, each step echoing a silent question: were they truly ready for the battles that lay ahead? The town buzzed with anticipation as the days flew by. The potluck was set, and for the first time in a long while, Sarah felt the weight of hope lift from her shoulders. She had a mission, a vibrant community event that promised to do more than simply feed hungry bellies. It was a chance to weave the town's scattered threads back into a cohesive fabric. Together with Lily and the townspeople, they began preparations. Colorful flyers fluttered throughout Maplewood, gathering momentum day by day. The excitement spread like wildfire, turning every corner into a hushed conversation of possibilities and shared effort. Sarah felt the thrill when people worked together. They could achieve what seemed impossible. Mixing fun with purpose, they baked, decorated, and called in favors from local businesses for donations. On the day of the potluck, Sarah arrived early, the sun rising softly over the horizon. She took a moment to absorb the scene: tables draped with colorful cloths, flowers arranged in jars, and the sweet aroma of baked goods wafting through the warm air. Jamie ran through the grass with gleeful laughter, his infectious joy a reminder of why she fought so hard. This was about building a future for him and every child in Maplewood, one that echoed the spirit of community she cherished. As the townsfolk began to pour in, voices mingled, laughter erupted, and the support felt palpable. Mrs. O'Brien smiled as she handed Jamie a piece of cake, her eyes twinkling with pride. Sarah couldn't help but smile back, her heart swelling with gratitude for the community she loved. The event quickly gained momentum. People shared stories and recipes, connections emerged like bold brushstrokes on a canvas, painting a picture of unity. When it was Sarah's turn to speak, she felt a rush of nerves. Standing behind the makeshift podium, she looked out at the sea of familiar faces. They looked back with hope. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice breaking slightly. "This isn't just about food, it's about each of us, coming together to build a stronger community." The applause that followed ignited a fire in her heart. She shared her passion for the community center and the importance of preserving their town's history as a rallying point for future generations. Her voice thick with emotion, she reminded everyone, every meal shared is a reminder that we're stronger together. Let us fight for our children. Thunderous applause erupted once more, and she felt the tears threaten to spill as her optimism brightened the tent. As the potluck thrummed with energy, Sarah caught sight of Lily weaving through the crowd, exchanging ideas and encouraging participation. Every high five, every hug, every shared laugh stitched their community tighter and tighter together. Her heart soared. They had done it, they had made something wonderful, yet, amidst the joy, a shadow loomed in the back of her mind. The mayor had announced the upcoming public forum, another hurdle to overcome. But with renewed strength from the potluck's success, Sarah gathered the courage to face him again, confident she could hold him to his word about bringing the community's voices to light. Days turned into nights, and the forum arrived. Sarah stood at the front, beside Lily, who had become her unwavering ally in this fight for their town. The buzz of conversations reverberated around them, and the thought of stepping into the spotlight no longer intimidated her. She could feel the energy of every person in that room, their hopes, their dreams, threading themselves into her very spirit. She presented their ideas, pieces of the puzzle they assembled bit by bit. "We are ready to stand united. This isn't just for us, it's for every child in Maplewood." If we harness the spirit of togetherness instilled through our potluck, we can bring back what was lost. The mayor seemed moved, despite the tough exterior he often projected. He nodded along, watching as the audience leaned in with rapt attention. Her confidence grew with every encouraging nod and smile from faces across the room. As discussions flowed about fundraising and initiatives, the mayor stood again. Let us brainstorm not just how we can get back what we lost, but how we can enhance our community as a whole. Each suggestion was met with applause, and Sarah realized that the change was more than fight, it was a commitment the town's heartbeat kept alive by every person who dared to care. Applause met every proposal, and Sarah felt joy bloom fiercely within her. She saw Mrs. O'Brien nodding, Mr. Johnson's brow easing, and Jamie's proud smile illuminating everything. With each voice that joined together, her notion transformed from a glimmer of hope to a buzzing reality. They were alive, days turned into weeks. The potluck transformed into various community events, and plans to revive the community center unfurled. Together they would face obstacles, heal old wounds, and work side by side. Sarah recognized with clarity that this was not just about the school, the community center, or even the old mill, it was a journey of transformation for everyone. As she stood on the steps of that old mill, ready to cut the ribbon, her heart felt full. Old stories and fresh beginnings swirled around her like the summer breeze that brushed her cheek. She had found her voice, and in doing so, inspired others to find theirs. In that moment, as she gazed at Jamie who bounced happily beside her, she knew they were not simply rebuilding a place, they were building a community, a family, and it was in this newfound unity that they would thrive. And so, hand in hand, with warmth in her heart and tears of joy shimmering in her eyes, Sarah stood ready, knowing this was only the beginning of their journey together. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to boost the algorithm. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Your support makes a difference, and only true fans understand the value of lifting each other up.